Hello, everyone. Before we get into it, I just want you guys to take a moment and maybe think about a time maybe you thought you were being watched, maybe through your phone, your computer, being listened to, and whatnot. Well, through my speech, I hope I can convey that message and tell you just how much you are being watched through the stories of Edward Snowden, the NSA Verizon scandal, and the PRISM program. So my first point I'm going to talk about is the Edward Snowden story. Edward Snowden started off as a normal military man in the early 2000s, where he would later break both of his legs and move to a special intelligence group where he worked as a systems administrator for the NSA. His job would require him to manage the systems of the NSA's very highly classified documents, how they're managed, when they're viewed, how they're viewed, and whatnot. And after a few years of working on these files and seeing the contents, Snowden began to grow very wary about just how much the government was watching its citizens. And in 2012, at the age of 29, Snowden decided to copy and steal over 60,000 very highly secret documents from the United States and flew to Hong Kong to avoid prosecution and blowback from potentially leaking these documents. In a TED Talk called The Snowden Files, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Luke Harding recalls the first time meeting with Snowden in secret to hear and see what he had to say. During the talk of his experience, he mentions, "When we first read the encrypted email from him, we thought there was no chance this could be a good lead. But there we sat with over 8,000 very highly classified documents exposing the unwarranted attainment of private data, both domestic and international." And later, after that meeting, the first documents were leaked to the public by Guardian newspaper, which sparked a manhunt for the material and for Snowden, making him the most wanted man in the world, with the United States government after him. Now that we have some background on Snowden, the second topic I want to discuss is the NSA Verizon scandal. So the NSA Verizon scandal started with a file leaked to the Guardian newspaper to a man by the name Glenn Greenwald, who got this file from Snowden. And in this file, Glenn, during a TED Talk called Why Privacy Matters, Glenn explains when he saw this document, the one thing that stood out to him the most was a court order. And this court order was from a United States judge to Verizon. And in this court order, Verizon was demanding to give the NSA all telephone records, international and domestic, on an outgoing daily basis. So this would mean the NSA was forcing Verizon to give them their call logs of every single customer, the data, messages of everyone. And people really didn't like this. It didn't resonate well with the citizens because they felt like their data and their rights and what they do on a day-to-day basis is being watched by someone else at all times, which violates the Fourth Amendment as well. And Snowden, in his own words, with an interview with Glenn this one time, said, "The United States is no longer spying on terrorist threats, but on its own citizens." So for my third point, I'm going to be talking about the PRISM program. The PRISM program was a part of another file that was leaked by Snowden to The Guardian, which talks about a program by the NSA which was first started in the early 2000s under the Bush administration. This program was started to secretly pull data from big websites such as Google, Yahoo, Gmail, AOL, and the point of this was to defend against terroristic threats. It would pull data through a search engine to find keywords to try to block out threats, both domestic and international. And by international, that means the NSA was also watching foreign data. So all this data would come into the PRISM to be backtraced and searched to make sure there was no threats involved. But this would also pull in people who weren't involved, unwarranted data. And this is where the citizens begin to worry and not like it. And the Snowden Files TED Talk, Luke Harding also talks about the PRISM NSA program, where he says the NSA is basically hacking into service of Google and Yahoo and all the services we use all the time. So with all those points being said, and just how much data of what we use on a day-to-day basis is being pulled in, I hope this helped you guys to decide if you're being watched or not. Thank you.